What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners post-game recap. Again, shameless plug before I get started. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. If you're new here, hit the like button. If you're not new here, hit the like button as well. Helps me out tremendously. Once again, as always, thank you to everybody that engages and comments, likes, all that stuff. Really appreciate it. Comment down below your thoughts on the Mariners. Just always ask that we keep it civil. Um, Again, it's a kid's game. No reason to get chippy about things at the end of the day. Mariners get a well-needed, well-earned, easy win, 11-2 tonight over the Athletics. Get back to 23 and 24. Start out the homestand well. It's a homestand that I really feels like they need a good homestand here. I said 7-3. You don't want to put numbers on it because if they go 6-4, are you done? No, but this can't be a losing homestand. This is one they've got to take advantage of. They've got three more against the A's. They've got three against an improved Pirates team, but a team they think is vulnerable. And then a good Yankees team, but a Yankees team that they beat 4 to 6 times last year, so they're capable. So this feels like a really important homestand here. It's a long one, and it's off to a great start with an 11-2 win. I'm going to keep this one pretty short. I'll say this first and foremost. If you're going to sit there and say, oh, it's just the A's, throw it away, and, none of this stuff matters, like, then you have to throw away yesterday, too. Because if the wins against the A's don't matter, then losses against the Braves shouldn't matter, if that's kind of how you look at it. Yeah, the A's are bad. Like, they might be the worst team I've seen. I mean, and I'm not trying to be arrogant about that. Just they're not a good baseball team, and uh, I said on Twitter, never going to call for a sweep. Sweeping in 4 games is hard, but the Mariners need to win 3 out of 4. I think against the A's, like a split would feel really, really weak here against this team. So I can stomach if they lose one in there, but you want to get 3 out of 4 against the A's. Luis Castillo was great. Got back on the winning note. They haven't won a Castillo start since the Cardinals game. 6 shutout innings for him, 4 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts, including his 1,000th career strikeout. So congratulations to Luis Castillo on that. 22 swing and misses. I don't know if it was the most in his career or the most as a Mariner. Definitely at least the most as a Mariner. I'm not sure it was the most in his career, but again, yes, the competition isn't great, but Castillo looked fantastic, and that's what you have to do against teams that aren't that good. You've got to take advantage and do that. That's how you win. The old adage has always been this, and this is in all sports: you beat up on the bad teams, and you break even with the good ones. The Mariners have beaten up on the bad teams this year. They're just not breaking even with the good teams yet. So Castillo was great. The rest of them won. 10 did give up a couple runs. Whatever. Spire got a strikeout, and Flexen had a shutout ninth inning. I will say, and Ryan Roland Smith made a good point on the broadcast, guys like Juan Ten, Gabe Spire, Taylor Saucedo, whoever else you want to throw in there, maybe that I'm forgetting, Flexen maybe. These guys are competing for a roster spot. Andres Munoz, it sounds like from what they said pregame, on the next road trip, should be ready to join the team. Penn Murphy possibly, as well. So some of these guys, and I think Juan Ten is probably going to be the first one that would go. But, everyone's, as good as this bullpen has been, like RRS said, these guys are fighting. They've got to kind of audition here because Munoz for sure is coming back. You could maybe stash Penn Murphy in AAA if you feel like some of these guys are better. But Munoz, you're not. They need Andres Munoz. So guys like Ten, Spire, they've got to pitch well. I would say Flexen too, but I think Flexen probably sticks. One, it gives you a long man option. And two, it gives you a spot starter option as well. So that's pretty much it from the pitching. Castillo was fantastic. Nothing that I thought was... It did look like he touched 99 a few times, so that's really good to see. Maybe a velocity uptick. You never know with the guns, if the guns are just a little hot or something like that. But real good performance from Castillo tonight. The offense was great. 13 hits, 5 walks, 11 runs. Everybody except outside of Teoscar Hernandez did something tonight. JP was 1 for 5 with a solid single. Ty reached base 4 times. Maybe the most quiet reach base 4 times game I've ever seen because I'm looking at the box score now. I didn't remember Ty France being on base. But he was 2 for 3 with 2 walks. Good for Julio. 3 for 4. Actually reached base 4 times because he was hit by a pitch. It was weird because it was 95. It looked intentional. I do not think it was intentional. There was no reason to be throwing intentional. I think it was just a fastball that got away. But anytime a fastball catches somebody, you think a little bit. But I don't think there was any intent there. And you could see Julio and Langoliers kind of chatting like, nothing there. Julio 3 for 4, though, an RBI double. Nice single started off. His first double was pretty weak. It was a pop-up. But listen, Julio's hitting some hard outs this year. I've been critical of Julio. You guys have seen the videos. But he's also hitting to a little bit of bad luck, too. And he was due a bloop double. And then the second double was vintage Julio, like he's been around for 15 years. But that was Julio that we saw last year, those doubles into the corner. That was great to see. So Julio on base 4 times. Just good to see. Good for Julio and good for the team to get going. So his OPS, I think, went from 658 to 688 just from tonight. So, hopefully this is it. I said I think Julio, maybe this home stands when we see him get going. Off to a good start. Jared Kelenic reached base 4 times, 3 for 4 with a walk, including an RBI single and a 2-run home run that was absolutely crushed off of starter Kyle Muller. That was a territory where I saw Barry Bonds hit one there once. I want to say it was off Felix. He hit one that was kind of crushed that part of center field for a left-handed hitter. And then I feel like Raul hit one out there once too. But that was one, 455 for that home run. And off a lefty, it's kind of crazy how Kelenic's just mashed lefties this year. And it's been great because it's helped make him an all-around player. I wasn't surprised that he hit righties pretty well. I thought at the worst case, he'd probably be a solid platoon guy. That was like worst case scenario. But man, he's mashing left-handed pitching more than right-handed pitching this year. And it's not just like he's getting some BABIP luck against lefties and he's getting some things to drop in. He is legitimately hitting them. I think at least 4 of his home runs are off lefties, maybe 5. I'm not sure, but his 10th home run of the year, he was in a little bit of a slump. The power hadn't quite been there. He hit one out in Detroit, but that was his only home run since Philly. There's, if you look at his slash line in May, it's not great. But here's the thing. Sometimes you have to look at the overall body of work. All these hitters are going to go through slumps at some point. They're all going to have a 2-3 week period where they're just off. And it looks like Kelenic pushed through that. And even his slump wasn't that bad. It wasn't great. And also good to see him taking a walk too, because the walks have gone down a little bit. So good to see him draw a walk. But looks like he's coming out of a mini slump. Gino was 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. Had a solid base hit and an infield hit as well. Cal was 1 for 5 with a single and RBI ground out. Teoscar was the only guy that didn't reach base today, 0 for 5. Hopefully just saving the power for later in the series. AJ Pollock 0 for 2, but did walk twice, good to see. And Jose Caballero, 1 for 4, 3 RBIs on a 3-run home run that was absolutely crushed to left field. His second in as many days. Caballero is taking over that second base job from Colton Wong. I know some people said maybe Wong gets DFA'd. I don't think that's going to happen when Dylan Moore gets back. More like I think Sam Haggerty goes down. Haggerty's just not offering anything. He's got good speed, but that only comes into play every so often, in extra inning games. I think they'll still like to have a second baseman that can hit righties in a platoon role. We love Caballero, but I think you certainly want to see a little bit more of it before you're DFAing guys with track records. But boy, he has really taken over this job. A fun player. And, it's funny because certainly not considered much of a prospect, but you look at his minor league numbers and they're all pretty good. And someone made an analogy on Twitter kind of comparing him to Altuve. Now, obviously, Caballero's a lot older than Altuve was when he came up. And I do think Altuve was a top 100 prospect on some, depends on where you read. So not exact science, but Altuve just hit in the minors. He would just constantly hit. And Caballero's kind of the same way. Again, I'm not trying to make this, I guess I am trying to make the comparison, but you guys, I'm not comparing it. I'm just using an example. You wonder sometimes if a little bit of that scouting background hurts some of these guys. Like, he just doesn't have the body type to play every day. But the numbers suggest he can hit everywhere. Sometimes, listen, I'm a believer in both. You need the sabermetrics, you need the analytics, and you do need the scouting background. There are some guys that just don't have the physical tools. They can put up the numbers in the minors, but the physical tools just aren't there to play in the major leagues. And, Jose Caballero, though, may be a little bit of victim of the body type isn't quite the ideal everything, but the guy hits, and he's hitting in the major leagues now. So thank goodness for Jose Caballero, because how bad Colton Wong has been. He has really taken over that job and done a nice job, and certainly, made the lack of the lost lack of Dylan Moore this season be less of an issue. So listen, that's all I've got for this one, really. Mariners get the win 11-2. It's a good win. They needed it. The A's should be a get-right team, obviously. They're bad. Like, Kyle Muller was really bad. I mean, he should have given up more runs, I thought. Cal and Gino both went back-to-back in the fifth inning, I think. They both hit balls right to dead center field that just fell short. They both would have been out at several ballparks. The A's pitching is really bad. Their offense is not much better. It's a good chance to get some wins here. And they get off to a good start. They get one. Like I said, we can diminish it and say it's just Oakland, but you got to beat the bad teams. That's what you got to do. And the Mariners kick their butt. That's what good teams are supposed to do to bad teams. So hopefully this is a good sign for the Mariners. Really do think this is an important homestand for the team. I haven't gotten too much into like, they need to do this, need to do that. I've been pretty much like, hey, they're okay. They're hovering. Eventually get it going. But this is a time I think they can. So we'll see what happens on this homestand. But hopefully they keep it going keep it going. Marco goes tomorrow. Listen, I know some people are really down on Marco. Obviously, the 3-1 record, who cares? Like, win-loss doesn't matter. The ERA is high. Marco should have a bounce-back start. He should be able to slow down the A's lineup. Maybe not what Castillo did tonight, but certainly to an extent. And pitching in T-Mobile should help him too. So I expect Marco to be better tomorrow night. I don't think his rotation slot is in jeopardy. Emerson Hancock just got lit up the last time I saw in Double-A. Maybe Brian Wu, but I don't think they're just going to jump the gun there. I think they know that Marco's Marco. Like, yeah, he went to Boston, didn't have his stuff, and that's a tough part to pitch in. He should pitch better tomorrow against the A's. So hopefully the Mariners can keep this going, get it back to 500, and then get it back over 500. So that's all I've got. Hope you guys enjoy. Have a great Monday night, and I will see you guys all tomorrow. As always, go M's. Peace.